Welcome everyone, you're listening to Mike Hamilton. So before we take a look around these markets, I just want to look at a couple of issues that we've got going on here. This is the Chinese index, and a lot of the news about Greece, but China's been having some interesting times. And you can see on this weekly chart here, there's huge momentum to the upside, pull back to the 20 EMA, and then a pull up to here, and then we sunk. We broke this support level here and we moved to quite a tremendous low. So we took all that time to get up here, and then just 3-4 weeks just to drop that hard. So some concerns about that. We need to, if a market can drop that hard, is this a bubble that has burst, and we're just seeing some short covering and a bounce, a dead cat bounce, or what's going on. Well, let's just switch now to let's look at the US market on the weekly chart, and you can see that what I'm concerned about here on the weekly chart is the loss of momentum. We've been steadily going up, climbing up here. We've had a very extended bull market, while this MACD index is showing the momentum has been slipping. And here at the moment we have a very nice curvature. I mean, in the case of the bulls, we had very little red, very little time under the mean. So there's no need to start setting up. But what I do think we are seeing is, I think we are seeing a gradual loss of momentum, and this is where we started to lose it. And I think any retest of the underside of this is going to be sold into. So that's what I'm essentially looking out for. I'm looking out for a push into this resistance, into the back end of the summer, and as we come out of the summer, potentially for that to break through. Now, of course, if we close higher than that, we start closing above 18,250 in particular, and start making new highs, then fine. But I'm not getting short at this stage. I'm not looking to short this, although we can't even get above this 20 EMA. But I'm just on alert for any potential sell signals on that push higher. I mean, this weekly in particular, we've had two lower closes here, and then last week was a higher close. So we've engulfed the previous week's bar. But I'm just concerned about this loss of momentum and the way in which that is potentially going to affect my view of what I think will happen as we get into late summer, early autumn. On the daily Dow, we're still struggling with this 200 EMA, 200 and the 100. So we've really, and what is most concerning about this period is if you look at this area here, that little bar down, that open and close down here was a Sunday open anyway. We are really stuck in this range, absolutely stuck in that range. So the buyers are not stepping in here and looking at this. Monday's close will be critical. If we can close above the top of this box, then I would buy dips and see if we can retest some of these highs. But coming back to what I've said about the weekly, I'm just on high alert for some signs much higher up that this market is. I would ideally like to get short up here at 18.5, somewhere around there, if we can get there. Chart pattern in the daily, we've got that with that line. So we are we have open and closed above this sort of fire line, which goes right back to early May. But any misfiring up here is to be shorted, and otherwise look out for any close above that level. But that is not a very unconvincing daily chart. The DAX, however, is different from the point of view that the weekly chart had a significant engulfing pattern, and we've got the potential for that to pull back to 11,150, 160. Actually, not sure we're going to get that much. We may only see 250, and then see if that can push through this resistance. Now, it's a key fib level. We've stumbled into Friday on a key level, but that was 2 clear days of buying, and let's just see if we get to our desk on Monday to see if like 250 holds here, 11,250, to see if we can at least push up to through the 11.5 mark. But that's a tough corner. That any failure there, particularly any close under 11,250, and that could just roll over again. What do I think will happen? I think we may sort of dither under here for a bit, potentially pull back to Friday's low, or at least 11,200, and then potentially try and reach for the skies again. But I will be on the alert for any pushes higher for sell signals intraday, and look to see if I can get short for a potential rollover. But that's a very strong finish. I'm not looking for shorts at this stage at all, but stay tuned. Right, Forex. And although we can't close above the daily 20 on this, or we haven't closed above the daily 20 on this daily, that is closing above a key level. Before we switch off that chart, I'll just look at the weekly. Hammer on the 20 EMA. 3 weeks of lower closes. So, we still had lower close last week, but we did do well. But I would look for a buying opportunity at 154.30 to see if we can close above 156 this week. His options expiring on Friday, so I'm just looking to see if there's any key numbers that they appear to be aiming at. 160 is an obvious one. If we can get going on this and close above this fib level here, 155, 156 on Monday, that could clear the way for a retest to 160. The euro, on the other hand, has been a little like the Dow, really stuck, because if you look at these 2 red lines, that is trading since June 26. So we spent the whole of July on in that range on the euro. So this has been a really, if you find yourself, if you're a big follower of the euro and you're struggling to make any money out of this, you might want to just make use of the sun and the good weather and stay out of it, because at the moment this is very hard to call, and it's very range bound, and it's still got a lot of congestion. All the time we're in this range, that still could go either way. On the weekly, on the other hand, it has had a higher close, but we can't close above the 20. I don't trust charts. I can't close above the 20 EMA. So those are the main ones I'm looking at. The only other thing I'm looking at is I'm very interested in the weakness of the Aussie. I shorted this for 300 pips on Wednesday, left it Thursday, Friday, and on Friday we had, you know, this mighty push up. So I think that's got, obviously with a chart like that, that's got the potential to go. So a pullback to 207.30 could be a good place to get in. We are high. We are. So just be aware of that. You know, we've come off of this area here, but we've got bought at the lows. If you're going to get into that, just be careful. I would advise you just to take a small position in the early part of the week, early Monday, on the pound US, and then see if that can hold up. Otherwise, no real chance of significant. Let's just look at the US dollar yen. Looks very much like the DAX. This does tend to follow the indices. If the indices are strong, then you could get, you know, this could follow and could push hard. The US dollar CAD. Well, that's had a couple of days of lower closes. So, that's good for the, if you're a pound US bull, then that's good. You know, a weak dollar could give the pound some room to start to push higher. If, however, we just come down here and test 125 and start picking up, that could go on another run. So I think the chart of the week at the moment is the pound US dollar, with a potential, with a lot of congestion above, but the potential for that to start to regain some ground and potentially pull back. The key lines in the sand with this this trend line that's coming in from a long way off, Jan 2013, struck through autumn 13, struck through last autumn before the drop, and now here we are just grappling with this area here, closing on the upside. So I think we've had 1, 2, 3 decent pushes, pull back, 1, 2, and we're holding up here, so we are potentially making our way back. A zigzag pattern, and at the moment we are at the low of that pattern. Okay, I'm not around during the day on Monday, but I will be back late US session and back in time for Traders Roundtable. Before I go, let me just put the fibs on that pound US. I have got some stocks I'm interested in, so I'll just go through 1 or 2 of those. So you can see we've potentially got this 100 200 crossing. Confirmation would be just that close above the 20. Stocks you might be interested in. AA is not doing it at the moment. I was talking about AA back in the last week. That is struggling. You can see on the daily on the right it's had a lower close, on the weekly on the left it's had a lower close. So be careful of that one at the moment. Amazon. Amazon's high, but very bullish. If you hold out for a cheeky, well, not even a cheeky, if you hold out for a pullback, you might do okay on that. Oops. If it can close above 46, then it's got the potential for 50. When it does get going, it does tend to get going pretty well. It did well from here in January, well here in April. Starting to see some rejections, but potential bullish consolidation. Consolidation may be over with that dip on July 7, and that could see some upside. Right, I'll go through some more stocks that I'm interested in that I've scanned on Traders Roundtable. Otherwise, enjoy what's left of your weekend and see you next time.